Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Sumo fans! I'm Vinny and this is Sumo Files. And today, my friends, I'm going to explain to you the maddening and fascinating ranking system of sumo wrestling. So without further ado, let's get to it! First of all, unlike almost every other combat sport, sumo doesn't have weight classes, but is instead structured like a pyramid. However, what most people don't realize is that each layer of that pyramid has its own traditions, rules, and purpose. Understanding these divisions is essential to grasp what professional sumo really represents. At first glance, the pyramid seems simple: 6 official divisions stacked one above the other. Yet, beneath the surface, there are actually 2 unofficial levels that almost no one talks about. The first of them is called Banzuke-gai, but it's easier to understand after we go through maezumo and jonokuchi. Maezumo, literally meaning before sumo, is the starting point for nearly every new rikishi entering the professional world. The number of bouts and length of this phase change from one tournament to another, depending entirely on how many recruits join at the same time. It's not an official division, more like a gate you pass through. Even if a wrestler loses every match, he isn't disqualified or turned away. His results simply decide where he began once he reaches Jonokuchi, the lowest official rank on the Banzuke. Jonokuchi marks the first official step of a rikishi's career. It's the 6th division, and its size varies a lot. Sometimes there are only 40 wrestlers, other times close to 90. Each of them fights 7 bouts per tournament, and the champion is usually the one who manages a perfect 7-0 record. If more than one wrestler achieves that, or if no one does, there are playoffs to decide the title. This is also the first time a wrestler's name appears on the official ranking list, the Banzuke, marking his formal entry into the world of professional sumo. Only then can we really talk about Banzuke-gai, which literally means off the Banzuke. This is the place where wrestlers go when they belong to a stable but haven't yet fought in maezumo, or when they've fallen from jonokuchi due to inactivity. If a wrestler skips 2 or 3 tournaments on the lowest division, he loses his rank completely and has to start again from maezumo to return. It's often considered a limbo, and many who reach this stage simply retire without ever coming back. After Jonokuchi comes Jonidan, the 5th division, and by far the most crowded one in sumo. It usually holds between 200 and 250 wrestlers, and this happens because it's common for them to be promoted to this rank even after a Makekoshi in Jonokuchi. But despite that, Jonidan is known as the graveyard division, because this is often the point where many realize the reality of life of a sumo wrestler and decide to walk away. For those who stay, the daily grind continues. At this level, a rikishi isn't just a fighter, he's also a servant. He cleans, cooks, washes, and attends to the higher ranked wrestlers in his stable. Outside, he can't wear modern clothes, only yukata and wooden geta sandals, even in the freezing cold of winter. It's harsh, but intentionally so. The system is designed to test more than skill or strength. It tests who's truly willing to sacrifice everything for the way of sumo. Those who endure reach Sandanme, the 4th division, where life starts to feel just a little less cruel. Wrestlers still fight 7 bouts per tournament and continue to perform chores, but now they are granted small privileges. They can wear coats over the yukata and no longer need to use the uncomfortable wooden sandals. Inside the stable, their responsibilities remain, though they can finally pass on some of the most unpleasant tasks to the lower ranks. At the moment, the Sandame division is capped at around 160 wrestlers, though this number has fluctuated over the years. And now it's time to explain why I said before that maezumo is the starting point for nearly every new rikishi, and not for all of them. Basically, if an amateur wrestler decides to go for another path and finish in the top 16 of the All Japan Championships, National Students Championships, or the National Sports Festival Adults Tournament, he can use the Sandanme Tsukedashi system, which allows him to start his journey in the sumo world at the bottom of the Sandanme division. The next step is Makushita, the 3rd division, and it represents a turning point. Before the creation of Judo, Makushita was actually the second highest rank, and its name means below the curtain, a reference to the literal curtain that once separated the dojo from the waiting area. It now contains 120 wrestlers and it's widely regarded as the most competitive level in sumo. It's where young hopefuls on the rise face off against veterans who've fallen from higher ranks but refuse to give up. The pressure here is immense, because the difference between the top of Makushita and the lowest rank of Judo is enormous, often described as the difference between heaven and hell. It's important to mention that this division also has a jumping system called Makushita Tsukedashi, which allows amateur wrestlers who advance to the quarterfinals of the All Japan Championships, All Japan Student Championships, or the National Sports Festival to start at the bottom of this rank. Then comes Judo, the second highest division in sumo. With only 28 wrestlers, it's where Rikishi finally become recognized as Sekitori, full professionals. The name means Tenryo, a reference to the income wrestlers once earned at this level. From this point on, they receive a fixed salary, wear higher quality clothes, use the full oichomage hairstyle, and enjoy privileges that their former selves could only dream of. They also fight a full 15 bouts per tournament, just like the top division. Occasionally, Judo wrestlers face Makuuchi opponents near the end of a tournament, especially when promotions and demotions hang in the balance. For many Rikishi, earning promotion to Judo is a dream come true, the moment when years of servitude finally pay off. It's considered a rite of passage, and because of that, their promotions are announced within days of a tournament ending, while everyone else has to wait weeks for the new rankings to be revealed. And finally, above all of them, stands Makuuchi, the top division. It consists of 42 wrestlers, but its internal structure forms another pyramid of its own. The base of this smaller pyramid is filled by the Maegashira, who make up the majority of the division. Their number changes depending on how many wrestlers occupy the upper ranks, known collectively as Sanyaku. At the very bottom of Makuuchi, Maegashira wrestlers are still considered elite. After all, they've climbed through hundreds of opponents to get here. But the difference between low and high Maegashira is immense. The higher a Maegashira rises, the tougher his schedule becomes, as he faces more top-ranked opponents. A single winning record near the top of Maegashira can open the door to the most prestigious position in sumo, the Sanyaku ranks. Sanyaku literally means the 3 ranks, though today it actually includes 4: Komusubi, Sekiwake, Ozeki, and Yokozuna. These are the titles of honor, the ranks reserved for the best of the best. Komusubi and Sekiwake are sometimes called the junior champions, because they face the same brutal schedule of the Ozeki and Yokozuna, fighting nearly every top wrestler in the division. Staying here is hard. One losing record can send them right back to Maegashira, but if a Sekiwake achieves double-digit wins consistently, he may be promoted to Ozeki, the rank of the great champions. Ozeki is one of the oldest and most respected titles in all of sumo, representing not only skill, but leadership and dignity. Promotion to Ozeki requires sustained excellence, usually around 33 wins across 3 consecutive tournaments as a Sanyaku. But unlike the Yokozuna above them, Ozeki can be demoted if they post 2 consecutive losing tournaments. Still, the title carries enormous prestige. An Ozeki is expected to lead by example, to embody sumo's values, and to act as a model for younger wrestlers. In the absence of a Yokozuna, they carry the sport's honor on their shoulders. And at the very summit of this entire structure stands the Yokozuna, the Grand Champion. There can be 1, 2, or several at a time, but every Yokozuna represents the living spirit of sumo. The promotion is never automatic. It's granted only after 2 consecutive championships as an Ozeki, or at least performances deemed equally dominant by the Yokozuna Deliberation Council. Once promoted, a Yokozuna can never be demoted. That's both the greatest honor and the heaviest burden in the sport, because if he can no longer perform at the level worthy of a Grand Champion, he's expected to retire voluntarily. It's not just about strength or results, it's about the dignity and grace that defines what sumo truly is. The Yokozuna's presence transcends competition. His white robe, the tsuna, is modeled after sacred Shinto symbolism, and his dohyo-iri, the ring entering ceremony, resembles a ritual more than a sport. When he performs it, he purifies the dohyo, a reminder that sumo isn't merely about victory or defeat, but about the preservation of an ancient spiritual heritage. And so, from the unseen world of Banzukegai to the divine aura of the Yokozuna, every step of the sumo pyramid represents a lifetime of struggle and sacrifice. Each rank is a story of effort, pain, humility, and resilience. To reach the top is to climb through centuries of tradition and emerge as something far greater than an athlete, a guardian of Japan's oldest sporting soul. But anyway, that's all for today. So if you enjoyed this video, consider liking it, subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you don't miss any future content. That's it guys, until next time!